And now joining us, the U.S. Open gets rolling on Thursday at Oakmont in Western Pennsylvania. It's our good friend Barry Phillips on the desk with us right now. Barry, good morning. It's good to have you in with us.
Great to be back. We only do a few of these a year, but that's what makes them so special, right, Jeff? The Masters, Alex and I did a show on that. We almost got there with Justin Rose. If you remember, we had Justin Rose at like 80-1, and he got in the playoff, and Rory knocked him up. But we actually had Rory as our chalk favorite over Scotty in that one. And it's a completely different golf tournament, Jeff, right? The Masters is all about birdies and eagles on the back nine. The Masters is so exciting with all the things happening, where the U.S. Open is a grind. And you just talked about Oakmont. It is a grind. If you finish at even par, you have a chance to win this tournament.
And you look, the USGA, we know the deal at this point. The USGA makes every course that they play, really, realistically speaking, hell on earth for these golfers, make it as difficult as they possibly can. And look, Barry, you just mentioned it. You're a legitimate shot. If you're 1 under, 2 under, by the time we get to about 6 o'clock Eastern on Sunday, you're going to have a darn good chance to win this golf tournament.
Yeah. So the last 2 times it was played there, Dustin Johnson won in 2016 at 4 under.
Yep.
And prior to that, Angel Cabrera won there in 07. He was +5.
Yep.
So, I mean, they make them tougher now. They're going to have these greens, I believe, north of 14. A typical PGA tournament, they're around 12. So that is super fast. So first off, you have to hit the fairways because the rough is going to be more than ankle deep. That's all they've been talking about all week on the Golf Channel, is that you've got to hit fairways on this golf course. And U.S. Open is all about putting, because you're not going to make a ton of birdies and a ton of eagles, but you can't 3-putt. You got to 2-putt, make your pars, and get out of there. And the big key to the U.S. Open is bounce backs, because everybody's going to make bogeys. Everybody. I mean, Tiger made bogeys, Nicklaus made bogeys, Hogan made bogeys, and Scheffler's going to make bogeys. But Scheffler's advantage there is Scheffler's number 1 on tour the last 3 years in bounce back. So he makes a bogey, he comes back with a par or birdie. He doesn't go bogey, double bogey, triple bogey like I do. So you got to get it. You got to get it bounce back, and that's why Scheffler is such a big chalk in this thing. And you mentioned it, Jeff. I mean, a few years ago, it was Tiger or the field. Who do you want to take?
Sure.
And everybody took Tiger. We used to be in a bunch of pools, and all the pools' record rules were you could pick any golfer you want, 5 golfers, can't take Tiger, because everybody took Tiger, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's how it is with Scheffler now. He's just so good. But with that said, he's number 30th on tour in driving accuracy. That's not his strength. He's a great ball striker. He's number 1 in the world, no doubt. But if you get in the rough here, you're not going to be making birdies for sure.
Who are you looking at that is really good at driving accuracy that you think has a shot?
Yeah, we're going to talk about him in our best bet segment,
Okay.
but I'll kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit. But number 2 in driving accuracy on tour is Colin Morikawa. And he has a couple of majors to his credit, not a U.S. Open, but he drives the ball straight. Interesting what's going to take place, the weather a little bit. We didn't mention that, but it's going to be fine the first 2 days. But Saturday and Sunday, it's supposed to be like 40% chance of rain. That will soften the greens, but it'll make the rough even harder, because wet, long grass, man, what do you
Good
get
luck.
out of it, right? The only thing you're going to get that out with is a foot wedge, right? I mean, it's going to be tough to get the ball back into the fairway and then onto a wet, soggy green, and then it comes down to putting. So I like Morikawa. He drives the ball really well. There's a couple other guys that drive the ball really well. By the way, Rory, I believe, is 167th in driving accuracy, and he's having troubles with his driver right now. His driver was ruled non-compliance at the PGA, and since then, he has not hit the world. I mean, he went to the Canadian last week and was 9 over. He went home all weekend reportedly and hit drivers all day long, Saturday and Sunday, to try and find one. So Rory is not one of my picks in this, and the reason is his driving accuracy is not very strong. Guys that do hit the fairway, Sepp Straka, number 11 on the PGA Tour in fairways hit. Pretty impressive when you're able to hit fairways like that. Morikawa is one that hits a lot of fairways. Ludwig Ahlberg hits a lot of fairways. He's in the he's like 85th or 87th, depending what he's done the last couple of weeks. So those 3 hit a lot of fairways. Lucas Glover, guy who won this tournament when it was at Black Page, is number 7th in driving accuracy. And I believe he's like at 100-1 in this tournament. Not that I'm going to put any money on him, but he could be a guy you look at maybe leading the first round or leading the second round, something like that. He doesn't tend to finish well, but he drives the ball well, and that'll be key.
Well, let's look at some value down the board shots here before we look at your best bets. But
Sure.
you just mentioned Lucas Glover. Yeah, 100-1 to be the first round leader. And then two other guys that are down the board that are names that all golf fans are very familiar with that you like at big, long numbers here this week.
Well, Shane Lowry is a name that comes up that is like a fan favorite. He won the British Open going away a couple of years ago. The guy is a fun guy to watch play, drives the ball extremely well. Last week, he was right in it. He threw a 62 up, I think, or 63 up on Sunday. He kind of stumbled coming down the finish, but he's 50-1 to win the whole thing. And I kind of like Shane Lowry a little bit as a value play. We had Justin Rose at the Masters, and he just missed. He didn't show up at the PGA, but he's 100-1. He's a former U.S. Open winner. I like guys that have won before at this level. Realistically, when you look at the field, there's maybe 10 or 12 guys that should win this tournament. It's not like the PGA where they have a surprise winner every couple of years, a guy you never heard of, John Daly being one of the examples, Rich Beam another one. But the U.S. Open is typically, the cream of the crop. And so you're always looking at the top of the page. But if you're going to try and look at some value, guys that haven't won at a major, Tommy Fleetwood. Tommy Fleetwood's at 30-1. There's a couple other guys. Russell Henley's a guy I really like a lot. He's 60-1. And I mentioned Seth Straka. He opened at 70. He's bet down to 30. So there's a lot of value in the middle of the field. Don't know if you're going to cash those tickets because it's Scotty Scheffler or anybody, but those guys are guys that you can maybe put a little bet on, and then you have some action going into because no one's going to run away with this tournament. It's going to be a full leaderboard right around +3 to -3 come Sunday, I believe.
Before we get to your best bets, I do want to talk about the cream of the crop, the top there with Scotty Scheffler. Now, you talked about some of the advantages and disadvantages of him. What about Bryson DeChambeau? And then you did talk about Rory, who has really just kind of fallen off since he won that Masters. But Bryson DeChambeau, is that somebody, or where do you feel he is right now?
No, he's right there. I mean, he's 7-1. And so the last 6 majors have been won by Scotty Scheffler's won 2 of them. Xander Schauffele's won 2 of them. Bryson has won 1 and Rory's won 1. And those are, top 3 of the top 4 players in the world. Scotty's 1, Rory's 2, Xander's 3, Morikawa's 4. And unfortunately, Bryson's not in there because he plays on the LIV Tour. But Bryson's been right there. He was right. He won it last year. Remember the Classic last year at the U.S. Open when he beat Rory on the final hole with the unbelievable, one of the best sand shots of all time. I like Bryson. He's actually one of my plays. Not a big play, but he's a guy I'm going to probably just have a little bit on just because, first off, he's a fan favorite. He's so fun to watch, right? Everybody loves the guy right now. And he's really John Rahm is on the top of the betting board as well. I think John Rahm is at 7 or 8 or 10. I think he's 10. John Rahm won in 2021, but since joining the LIV has not done anything. So the LIV players are DeChambeau, who I like, Rahm, who's playing really well but hasn't done anything since the LIV, joining the LIV. The other one is Brooks Koepka, one of just 7 guys to ever win back-to-back U.S. Opens. He's 40-1. Hasn't been doing anything since he joined the LIV. He's had 1 top 7 finish in a major. So, all these guys on the LIV Tour, they got that money and they find it really exciting and fun. All they talk about is how fun it is to be on the LIV, playing 54 holes, shotgun start, music playing, eating a taco between holes, whatever they do. But that's not the U.S. Open. The U.S. Open is not fun. It is a grind. And I don't know if the LIV guys are up to it except for DeChambeau.
Koepka's missed the Cotton Bolt majors this year as well. It's just not the same guy who he only showed up in majors when he was on the PGA Tour.
And he won 5 of them, Jeff.
I know.
Everyone's thinking he's going to catch Tiger. And then he goes to the LIV and just disappeared. I mean, it's hard to stay. That's what was so great about Tiger was Tiger had all the money in the world and he still was so motivated to practice and go out there. How do you motivate yourself to play when you've got $100 million in the bank without winning? I mean, you don't have to do anything to get it. You just got it given to you. So interesting to see. I mean, I've never been a big LIV fan. And really, it's only those 3 guys that are on LIV that anybody talks about when they keep talking about we got to get all the best players together again. If those 3 guys could come back, I don't think anybody would watch the LIV ever.
Let's jump to some matchups. You brought up Morikawa, and I will say Jeff and I, last year, we bet him quite often, at least top 10 in most of these majors. So who do you like him matched up against to win this weekend?
Well, Chris has an outstanding board for the U.S. Open for matchups. I mean, there's got to be 70 of these things or 80 of these things on this page, right? So I like one right near the top of the page, Xander Schauffele and Colin Morikawa. I just barely touched on Xander Schauffele. He's struggling this year. He's been hurt. He had a rib injury, never been able to recover, hasn't shown up anywhere all year long. And I think it's just a matter of it's one of those years he's got to rehab. So it's Morikawa versus Schauffele. Schauffele is minus 110. Morikawa is plus 110. I love Morikawa in that matchup. With that said, I bet Xander Schauffele for like 3 years. That guy's one of my favorite players.
Right.
Injury, he can't get there. So I like Morikawa in that spot.
You said that before the Masters, too. You were like, be careful. He's getting a lot of hype, but coming off of that rib injury, and you're right, it's been a struggle for him this year.
I mean, golf, it's funny. Just a little teeny scrape on your finger. It's not like football where you can play through injuries. Golf, teeny little injuries make a big difference, and you got to be in sync. So I'm not backing Schauffele in anything, top 10, top 20, anything this time. He'll probably win now, but I'm not backing him. Another one I really love, Sepp Straka. I mentioned him earlier. This guy bombs the ball and hits it straight. That's key. U.S. Open, hit it long, hit it straight. He's never won a major, which is a little scary. First time major isn't the U.S. Open typically, but there's been a few that have been there. Webb Simpson's one that got there in the U.S. Open. So I like Sepp Straka against Corey Connors. I think Corey Connors coming off a big week last week. He was played in the Canadian Open. He's Canadian, and he had a lot of hype going into it, and he didn't finish well. So he's probably down just a little bit. Connors is actually minus $120 in that one. I like Stratka at even money in that bet. And my third one is Koepka against Fitzpatrick. Matthew Fitzpatrick has won a U.S. Open. So has Brooke Koepka, winning back-to-back, but not since 18. And Matthew Fitzpatrick is minus 115 in there. Fitzpatrick hasn't done a whole lot this year, but he always seems to show up at the U.S. Open and the tougher golf courses, so I like him. Do you like any of those, Alex? Because last time we did this show, on the people who wrote stuff on the reviews, and they're going, great, we like Barry, but where's Alex's pick? Do you have any of those matchups you like?
It's so funny because as you're going through it, just you hear so many different names. I heard Tommy Fleetwood. I was like, yeah. Where is he? Yeah. So it's just, it gets a little overwhelming. But I actually I do have a bet on Bryson DeChambeau, and that was by accident because my dad had put it in for the last major, but it was for this one. So I have that one going into this weekend, but I may need to look for some other matchups in top 10 as well.
Barry, I just want to ask you one follow-up to just everything we've talked about so far. And Scheffler's plus 250 to win this golf tournament. Yeah. And he's obviously a favorite in every single matchup that he's in. It just is real, like, looking through this, I know he's never won the U.S. Open. I understand, but is there any way to, justify betting a plus 250 in this golf tournament, even if you like him? No, right?
Well, I'll tell you all the reasons you do bet him. I mentioned earlier, bounce back.
Yeah.
Number two is, you just mentioned, he hasn't won there, and this guy is a major, monster. He's won the Masters twice. He's ready to just, really go on a tear and have a chance to win what Rory had just accomplished, winning the Grand Slam. Best ball striker on tour by far. Great putter. Doesn't make a lot of big numbers. So there are a lot of reasons to like Scottie Scheffler in this tournament, but I don't like it's not worth betting it for me at 2-1. I'd rather try and hit something, and if Scheffler wins, great. I'll cheer him on, and you lose some money, but as a fan, you like to see the guy win. So I'm not. All right, you're going to take the chalk. This is what we said in the Masters. You're going to take the chalk. Take Rory. If you're going to take the chalk, take Scotty. But no, you're. I got a number for you, Jeff. That was a great question. I forgot the stat. I was going to tell you. If you bet Scottie Scheffler every tournament since 2022, you'd win 65% of your money versus the S&P 500, which is only up 30%. How about that number?
Yeah.
Just bet Scottie Scheffler $100 every week for the last 3 years, and you'd be up 65%.
Yeah, that's pretty damn good.
Because he's always, not in the majors. He's always like 7, 8, 9 to 1.
Yeah.
You take that kind of number. Why not?
Oh my God.
Well, up until last week, he had as many wins as Colorado Rockies did in the previous month. Right. So,
and he didn't have, and he started the year slow.
Right? Slow, exactly.
Cut hand. He missed the first month of the season.
Yeah, it's look, it is incredible what he has turned into, and of course, got his first PGA. It's kind of amazing. He's only won 3 majors, but at some point he's going. You imagine he'll join Rory and Tiger as a career Grand Slamist when it's all said and done. But Barry, let's just go back to where you started here, and Colin Morikawa is 20 to 1, and you mentioned him in your matchups. You mentioned him throughout this. Mm-hmm. Colin, of course, has won the PGA. He's won the British Open. This is one of the 2 majors he has not won yet, and sitting at 20 to 1 this week.
Yeah, he's my best bet at 20 to 1. When we get to best bets, I'll throw out. I want to just throw out a few more names. I was looking at my notes. Please. I skipped right over them. We talked about value a little bit. There's a couple of guys in here that you might consider, small wagers on just because the number's so high. Sam Burns. Last week, the guy almost won at Canada. He's one of the best putters on tour, so the fast greens should work to his favor, although he ended up 3-putting in the playoff to lose. But Sam Burns played good the last couple of weeks, and he's 60 to 1. Another guy you never want to count out, Hideki Matsuyama. He's 50 to 1, and Hideki is always there, and he's been in 11 U.S. Opens. He's missed the cut 1 time. So he tends to be in the number and have a chance on Saturday and Sunday. So I like that guy. Ludwig Ahlberg, who is a guy I went all in on the Masters. He's 15 to 1. No majors. He's the lowest odds of any non-major winner on the board at 18 to 1 or 20 to 1, wherever you get him at. So those are all guys that you can look at. John Rahm's 10 to 1 we mentioned. But those are just some guys. And then Stratka. Oh, here's the one guy that I do actually like that I think has got a really good shot to do a couple of things is Ben Griffin. He's 60 to 1. A couple of weeks ago, he was right there going back to back, and Scheffler beat him. And Jim Nantz on CBS said the 2 hottest golfers in the world, Ben Griffin and Scotty Scheffler. So he's been bet down from 200 to 1 to 60 to 1, by the way. Yeah. So Ben Griffin up there. The other thing I like to bet, Jeff, is I like to bet first round leaders. And that's what we had a shot at with Justin Rose in the Masters. Justin Rose ended up leading after the first round when he shot the low score, and he was 100 to 1 in the first round there. So that was a jackpot. This tournament, first round leaders, I like Russell Henley. Russell Henley's a guy that you can get as a first round leader. Chris will have those numbers up later today. He didn't have them finalized before this show, but he said they'd be up today. But that's going to be somewhere in around the 50 to 60 range. Shane Lowry. He's going to be at 30 to 35 to 1, first round leader. Another guy, he might not win it, but he has a chance right there as a first round leader. So those are 2 guys I like as first round leaders, and Ben Griffin, as I mentioned, as a first round leader. The value plays, I just mentioned them. A couple of other guys that are on the board there's just so many names in this thing that are value. I'm not saying bet them because they're value, but you mentioned Scotty Scheffler being such a large chalk, but how about Patrick Cantlay? Hasn't won a major. Guy has been right there many times, 40 to 1. And Tony Finau. Yep. He's a guy that's got to win at some point, doesn't he, Jeff? I mean, this guy's every week he seems to put a 62 on the board, but then he puts a 72 on the board. But Tony Finau is at 75 to 1. And then, as I mentioned, Ben Griffin is a guy that I like as some really value there as well. So there we go. So the best bets overall is Colin Morikawa as my 20 to 1 pick, is a guy that I like a lot. I'm going to go all in on. Those other names that I mentioned, I'm going to have smaller wagers on so that I have some action, because I don't believe, even if Scotty Scheffler wins this, it's not going to be in a boat race. And the winning score, I think, will be somewhere around -4 or -5 at the best, depending on what happens on that weather on Saturday and Sunday.
From what I've kind of paying attention, mostly just the majors though, but I always, have my phone and my ESPN, and then I see Thursday and Fridays come in. I feel like Scotty's more of a Saturday, Sunday anyways, right? So that first round winner, I do like going after some of those long shots there.
Yeah, Scotty's like Tiger used to be. He'll just shoot his 68, 69, be close, but not there. Where these other guys tend to try and go low, They blow their wad on Thursday or Friday. Those first round, second round leaders, there's a lot of value in those because those are guys that are not going to be there on Sunday. Typically, look what happened at the Masters, right? Justin Rose led it on Thursday.
Incredible.
Friday, he did okay. Saturday, tanked. Then comes back Sunday and gets into the playoffs. So you never know who's going to shoot that low score for the day.
Well, everything was Bryson and Rory head to head on Sunday, and then he falls back, and there comes Justin Rose right back in it.
And I don't think you're going to hurt yourself if you take Bryson at 7-1. That's probably one of the better low value picks that he's going to be there. He's not going to blow up. That guy's been playing really well on the LIV. He finished 4th last week in the LIV tournament in Virginia. And how do you not root for the guy? He's just fun to watch. So Bryson's there as well. I know I've thrown a lot of them out there, but Morikawa, who's going to have my wallet.
Yeah.
Ellen, look at like we said, Morikawa. This is one of the two he has not won, and for a tournament where ball striking is so important, we know Colin Morikawa's past history with the irons. He's as good as anyone with irons, and as you said, he's had a great statistical year with the driver, which sets up pretty nicely here in Oakmont this week. It's going to be the U.S. It's always fun to watch the U.S. Open for a ton of reasons. Barry, the cynic in me makes it always of, I love watching the best in the world hack it up like I do on a Muni.
Right.
And they're doing it on the grandest stage. But again, what a tournament this will be. And Barry's on Morikawa and your other best bets that you mentioned, those matchups, Morikawa over Schauffele, Fitzpatrick over Koepka, Straka over Connors, and then Lowry and Henley with those big numbers in round 1 for Barry this week. Barry, it was awesome to have you in. Thank you so much. Let's plan on doing this again for the Open Championship.
Sure, yeah. The British Open coming up in a few weeks in July. Great to see you. Great to see you two again, Alex. Thanks, guys.
Barry Phillips, everyone, here on Sports by the Book. Hi, everyone. I'm Jeff Parles.
And I'm Alex White. Thank you for watching this clip of Sports by the Book. Please like the video, comment, and subscribe.
We live stream the show right here every day on this channel. Also, you can catch the podcast version on your favorite podcast platform.
All the links are in the description below. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.